Alrighty, and away we go. We're live again.
Look at that show with no helmets on.
No, it's without a condom. Yeah.
That's what I said. I got no helmet on.
Go.
Yeah.
We're live again.
Look at that show with no helmets on.
It's without a condom. Today we're going to be covering
I got no helmet
talking
on.
about public education. Why am I getting somewhere?
There we go. I'm closing down extra feed. My bad.
Oh, that's where it's coming from. Okay, cool.
Yeah. No, that was me. That was totally me.
I thought I was going to have to fire my producer again. I know.
No, we're keeping the producer. She's a cutie. We're going to keep her.
All right. So we're talking about public education, and is it obsolete? Yeah, who knows? Well, we'll have a discussion about that, and we're going to be talking about the Supreme Court ruling of Trump's travel ban and more. So let's just hop right in it. Welcome to Unframe of Mind. I'm your host, Daniel Wagner, and today we're going to be having uncomfortable conversations without a condom. That's the way we like to do it. We're all going to be sitting around lobbing fiery balls of truth, reason, and evidence over safe room walls, and we're doing that just for you. So I believe we'll go ahead and get started into the main topics here. But before we do, let me introduce my guests. I've got Stacy, a friend of the show. She's
doing the best I can.
Yep, she's hanging in there by like a hair and a biscuit. And then we've got my friend Trent Gander from The Irreverent Gentleman. And I was just on his show last night. This gentleman just started a brand new YouTube channel to supplement his website. So if you guys want to check that out, be sure to check his channel out. At any rate, and then my last guest is, of course, Dan, my friend from the Proud Boys. All right, so I guess we will jump right in. And I'm going to start with the lightning round questions and just throw a few questions at you guys and see where you're at. So I was just curious, what kind of what kind of education did you guys have before we get started into this topic? Public education. I was also public education. What about you, Trent?
I hear this. I hear what you're saying, and in my head, I'm saying, I'm from Canada. So I got the same education that every other person born and raised in Canada got. I mean, I'm not saying it was excellent. What I'm saying is this is what I got.
All right. What about you, Trent?
I've been exclusively homeschooled.
Exclusively homeschooled. That's interesting. All right. So we might be able to get a little different, varying viewpoints on this one. That's fantastic. I think you mentioned that before, so I wasn't really 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure I did that already. So let me ask you this then. If were you happy with the education that you received? Do you feel like, I guess, were you happy with it?
I was very happy with it. From what I've seen, the standard was significantly higher than other grades that I went through.
All right. Anybody else?
I went to 9 different school systems. Some of them I liked, some of them I didn't care for. But overall, I got the education I needed to and got my college degree out of it. So,
right on. Boy,
what did you do? What did you do with your college degree? Is the question.
Absolutely nothing.
That's what I fucking said before, and this is what I'm saying. Is I'm going. I went to school. I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, Stacy, it is what it is. You guys have seen me. And what I'm saying is I've been around for a bit. Now you know. I went to school one time, and I got an honors diploma. No joke. An honor. With honors. I graduated with honors. And I was a funeral director. That's what they gave me. So I can embalm your dumb ass when you die. I can do that. And then after that, I went back and I went to school and I got an honors diploma again ×2. Funeral direction. I've got honors diploma in funeral direction, and then I've got an honors diploma beyond that in fucking computer shit. And I don't work in computers. I don't want to deal with humans. It was my problem. Well, I'd like to deal with humans who are dead because it's easier to do the job.
All
And
right.
that's ultimately what it is.
Move
It's
on to
just
the
a
next
funny story. We can get stuff on paper from school, and it's not really real.
Right. Let me go to the next question here. We'll be getting into all that here as we move through the episode. But what I was curious, last question here is, do you feel like you were prepared for the real world after graduating school, or after you finished your basic K through 12 or whatever level of education you?
Yeah, whatever you did, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I grew up on a farm, so I didn't really get my life preparation from school. There wasn't really much life skills to be had there. It was, rote, remember and repeat. So I was prepared, but not from school. So
Right on.
That's fair.
Yeah. I graduated with pretty decent grades. I had one D in my entire high school career, and the rest was all A's and B's. And I was a science teacher that I really didn't much care for. At any rate, as far as feeling like I was prepared for the real world afterwards, not so much, man. It was just, I don't know. I felt like I still needed, like I barely was getting started. It seems like I should have had more preparation than that. There's a lot of real basic skills that you would think you would have, and I don't feel like I got those. What about you, Trent?
My training was a bit more extensive since it was predominantly at home. I had a lot more things work into it, and I started trying to get ready to enter the workforce 1 to 2 years before getting out of high school. So I started around 16, prepping for writing work.
All right, sorry, trying to communicate. All right. We'll get this together. I wanted to show you guys something real quick before we move into the main topics. There was an idea that I had, and I had presented the idea to a friend of mine from he's been on the show before, Brent Siegel from the Disgruntled Millennial. I recently met him in Nashville when he came down for the March for Our Rights rally. At any rate, I threw an idea to him because he has these little skit performances, recordings at the beginning of his show, before each episode and after each episode, and I just wanted to throw that your way. One of the ideas I threw at him, I wanted to play that for you. It's about 2 minutes long, and just get you guys' thoughts on that and see what you think here. Let's see. Haley, where you at? All right. So anyway, we're gonna play this little clip for you guys and let you see what you guys think about it. I'll go with the first one. Try that one.
Harry Potter, if you do not recite the spell exactly, your friend will live for eternity in the chamber of racism. Okay, Lord Voldemort, I'll recite your blasted spell. Just don't hurt my friend. What's the spell? The magic spell is Gentrificus Benigaristico. What? I couldn't hear you. Did you say Gentrificus N-word istico? The magic spell is Gentrificus Benigaristico. Recite the spell exactly, or she will live for eternity trapped in the chamber of racism, where she will have to listen to Whoopi Goldberg on The View every day forever. Lord Voldemort, I beseech you. Is there no low to which you won't sink? You know I can't. Harry, please help me. I don't want to listen to Whoopi Goldberg every day for eternity. Please help me. I want to, but I can't. Gentrificus N-word istico. That's not the spell. Okay, one more time. Let me try one more time. Gentrificus istico. Harry Potter, you have one more chance to say the spell exactly. Gentrificus benigaristico. I can't. I'm so sorry. I
Honest
can't.
to fuck, I'm listening to this and I want to hit you in the face because I'm going, why the fuck am I listening to this?
Lord Voldemort.
To be fair, listening to Whoopi Goldberg on The View, or listening to The View in general for eternity sounds like my idea of hell.
Right? What'd you think about that? Was up?
Well, personally, I think it's a perfect example of a concept I'm going to be delving into on my blog of false equivalency, because there's a word that sounds really close to the N word that just means stingy, and it's used a lot in Victorian literature, and people are like, oh, it's absolutely terrible, but we don't know the context, and it's bad because of that.
Yeah, right. It's just it's funny. It's funny because I came up with the idea from listening to an episode of the Joe Rogan Experience where he's talking about there's like these words that it's just mouth noises is really all it is, and like you're not allowed to make your mouth make this certain noise, otherwise people get really pissed off at you, and it's a damn mess. I don't know. I thought that was a fantastic idea, and then I threw that idea to him, and he did a fantastic job. It's fine, and I'm happy with it, and he was happy with it. And ironically, he put it at the beginning of an episode where he was talking to Reverend Jesse Lee Peterson that he just had on yesterday. So that was pretty cool. At any rate. All right. I think we lost Stacy there. Oop, and I'm losing my microphone. I think we lost Stacy for a minute. And I can't figure out how to get her unmuted.
I think she muted herself.
I don't know. At any rate. So I guess the question was, is public education, is the school system outdated? Why am I showing just her picture? There we go. Okay.
To answer the question, is it outdated? I don't think it is, because it was designed to be very long-lived, but it's not for the purpose of actually producing individuals who are capable for the outside world.
Yeah, I get what I get what you're saying exactly. And as a matter of fact, Sugata Mitra from I'm going to play a video clip by him later on. That's one of the things he talks about, is that the education system's working perfectly. Actually, it's doing exactly what it was designed to do, and that was kind of to. Well, I'll tell you what. Let me go ahead and play the clip from him. Is a video called the school from the cloud, or School in the Cloud, and I heard about this probably 2013, I think, is when it came out. And as soon as I heard him talking about this stuff, it kind of like reshaped everything I thought about the public education system and how it works and how people learn versus how they. Yeah, anyway, let me play this little clip from that video just to kind of get you an idea what that's about.
I tried to look at where did the kind of learning we do in schools, where did it come from? And you can look far back into the past, but if you look at present day schooling the way it is, it's quite easy to figure out where it came from. It came from about 300 years ago, and it came from the last and the biggest of the empires on this planet. Imagine trying to run the show, trying to run the entire planet without computers, without telephones, with data handwritten on pieces of paper, and traveling by ships. But the Victorians actually did it. What they did? Amazing. They created a global computer made up of people. Still with us today. It's called bureaucratic administrative machine. In order to have that machine running, you need lots of people. They made another machine to produce those people. The school. The schools would produce.
Yeah, I'm going to have that link down in the description below. So if you guys want to check that out, it's 20 minutes that it's well worth the time. Well worth the time to kind of see what he has gone on to do. As far as trying to study how people learn and that kind of thing. It's very, very cool. But that's kind of the basic premise is yeah, I mean, the public education system was kind of originally designed as a way of transmitting information from one location to another, to be able to take a citizen from one country and transplant them into another area and be able to have them continue living on as if, just fine. They've got all the skills they need.
The human thumb drive, if you will.
Right. So, I mean, right now we've got, something far superior to that in so far as the smartphones we carry around in our pockets. I mean, we can look up anything we want pretty much anytime we want. and the information is just there all the time. We don't need to have this system set up where we're, you know, trying to teach people and having them what is it, memorize and regurgitate. I mean, that's pretty much all we do in school, to be honest. I mean, there's not a whole lot of critical thinking skills going on there.
Yeah, I think as just about everything is that's got the federal government involved, the problem with public education is its conformity from coast to coast. I haven't really thought this out very well, but essentially, I'm not sure that people from the same general areas, like Christians want the Ten Commandments in the Bible in their schools. So the Bible Belt would probably be better served by a school system that you know, cater more to that. You know, California, New York, all these places are different areas, and the fact that we're all on these standardized test systems that are, you know, governed by the man on high in Washington is,
Yeah, it seems like we need something better, and I think everybody's got this idea that, well, if we pour more money into the public education system, that's going to solve the problem. And study after study has shown that that's not the case. I mean, matter of fact, there's been studies where the more money they pour into the school, the less well the students do. It's almost like the teachers are kind of relying on the new technology to do their work for them, so they're not being as engaging. And I don't know what the exact reasoning for that is, but it kind of it pushes against the narrative, this idea that more money is going to solve all the problems. That the reason that the inner city schools, for example, are doing so poorly is because of the fact that they don't have as much money. Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no, like the way I see it is I don't want to pay for your kids' education, so the fact that I'm taxed for all these kids is kind of bullshit. Like, you know I went to public school, but I think people underestimate how far technology can take us, like Khan Academy and things like that. You can get a high school education for free on the internet, and I think teachers almost need to become freelancers, even working with homeschool. Because I was picking up the other day, and if a family was willing to pay $20 a week, and just some guy who claimed to be a teacher could get 50 people he visited with maybe an hour a week or so for you know, specialization and direction, that's $50,000 a year just right off the bat, just $20 a week, and the family who was actually getting their children educated would be paying for it instead of me and all the taxpayers who don't really give a shit about your kids. So
the cost when I was still in school was about $1,800 to $2,600 for the entire coursework from Christian Liberty Academy, for all the books that they would send you, coursework, curriculum, and that was pretty much it. It was still expensive for us, but it's much cheaper than $30,000 a year for everyone else included.
Yeah, like I think a lot of the things in our modern society are, I think of them as scaffolding. Like big cities, like they used to have the draw. Humans needed to come somewhere to develop ideas and things, but we can go global now, and it's basically proven that big cities are not healthy for your basic health and your mental health and all things like that. I think urbanization, the education system, we need to start breaking everything down, just like scaffolding. We used it to build up humanity, and now we've gotten to a place we don't actually need that shit no more. So.
Yeah, I think once people start recognizing the fact that this whole system's obsolete, and maybe start retraining their brain toward public or private market solutions, or something that's more of an internet-based solution. You know, as long as you got a Wi-Fi connection, you can learn. I mean, that's another thing that he talks about in the video, is like having people just doing online courses and teaching people how to speak English, for example, and how to pronounce it correctly. Just anything can be done online. It's amazing, and including tutoring, including, you know, your more difficult educational courses. Anything that you can stand in front of a classroom of students in front of you, you can do it behind a monitor. There's no reason you can't.
Yeah, when I was
we're seeing that integrated into public school today. A lot of my cousins who are still in public school are doing a lot of their classes online.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah.
So it's almost like there's this transitionary period going on right now.
It is. One still likes going to school because she likes the human interaction, but for the most part, the less social of them preferred that they could log on, do whatever it is that they had to, and the youngest of the family actually is provided a small computer, really expensive and like exclusive for that niche, for him to do his coursework on, bring it back, very similar to homework would used to be, and it's all wrapped up in this little computer that he has to have now.
So if I had the option to have gone in and basically run through and did all my schoolwork on an online course and I could just work at my own pace, I probably could have easily graduated 3-4 years earlier because the stuff was not challenging to me. I finished everything. I never took home homework, like literally never took home homework. It was just, I would prefer that and just do that and then get started in life earlier, you know, be able to actually get out there and start working and building up those meaningful connections.
It's not even like just public school for like kids K through 12 and all that. You can get a college degree for almost no money. Like there are, I mean, I can send you links and everything afterwards. You can take credits and such like that. And essentially all you have to do is sign up for one semester at an actual college like WGU, which is $3,000 a semester, finish one credit there and get an actual diploma for $3,000. That's the cheapest method I know. So it's like technology has taken us pretty far.
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, hey, so from the comment section, we got Gabe the Samurai hopping in. He asked how I'm doing. But this is not the time to ask me how I'm doing. I'm in the middle of a live show. I mean, you really think I'm going to take the time in the middle of my show to tell you how? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Thanks a lot for joining us.
I just realized we all do have beards.
Yeah, that's right on. That's right on. He pointed out that we all have beards. He's with beards, and that's okay. It's all right. It's kind of coming off as a fetish there, buddy. It's all right though. I still love you, man.
Going back to the concept of schools, a lot of the stuff that we're encountering in the political spectrum of I don't want my children learning X, that's been bandied about a lot lately, is really solved by the homeschooling methods or private schools, because you can choose what your child is learning. You choose what they're exposed to, and we'd have a lot less problems if it all kind of came out of the public spectrum and back into private and even personal family control.
All right, speaking of homeschool versus public school, I found this handy little chart here. It talks about the national average percentile scores of homeschool versus public schools, and they consistently are outperforming public schools. And I do believe that there's a reason for this, and it has a lot to do with parents or their educators being able to focus on the students and being able to, actually give them the individualized attention they need. And like what you were saying, Trent, that they can actually learn the things that they want to learn, and they can learn it in a way they actually want to learn it. And that whoever is educating them gets to know them on such a deep level that they know exactly what they're more interested in and can tailor their education around that. It makes it, when I'm interested in what I'm learning, I learn a lot better, and I can maintain that information a lot better than I would otherwise just being told, hey, memorize this list of words, it's going to be on the test, and then if you pass or fail based on how well you memorize. It makes absolutely no sense.
Do you know if the test scores you just showed there are in aggregate or for a specific grade? Because I was actually reading an article last week about how high school level math homeschoolers actually lag behind public school because just the parents aren't really equipped or able to teach that as well.
That could be very, very possible. I don't know. I'm not really sure. It doesn't specify on this particular.
It's probably in aggregate, but when I was in school, it was also said that someone who was in early high school had better better writing and other related skills in like grammar and things than your average college student.
Yeah. So I mean, in areas like what you were saying, Dan, the fact that students, the parents may not have the knowledge in either. They may not understand it, so that it's hard for them to teach it. And that would be the instance where you would actually
technology.
Tutor. Yeah, technology would help. A tutor would help. Educational videos. There's all sorts of online courses that you can pay for that's really inexpensive that will walk you through step by step, and it's very well structured for just exactly this scenario.
There's also a differentiation we have to make that it's not just public school and homeschool. There's generally two types of homeschool. There's the I create my own curriculum. You find all the books, you find all the resource materials, make it very expensive. Or you can go to places like Christian Liberty Academy. They'll give you all the resources you'll need. Like for math, for example, they had the answer booklet and they had the coursework all in one thing, and the answers were in the teacher's manual, and you didn't have to be, okay, I don't know this math. All I have to do is make sure that the process is okay and the answer matches.
Right. Gabe says that he was homeschooled and he's glad he was. He said there were so many things wrong with him that he needed it. Well, that's, I guess, one reason why you might want to be homeschooled. That's absolutely. Some people thrive in that environment. I mean, I did okay. I didn't have a problem with it, but most of the people that I interacted with in school were bored out of their mind. They did not want to be there. Like, nobody wanted to be in school, you know, on average anyway. I mean,
Yeah, like
the only is gym and lunch. I mean, come on.
the only possible defense, just to play devil's advocate, I could bring up for public education would, because I mean, from personal experience, my parents were given the option twice of letting me skip a grade, and both times they refused for wanting me to be socialized within my proper age group. And that's literally the only defense I could give for public education is the socialization aspect.
Yeah,
That's also not a very strong defense at all, because there's studies that show that homeschoolers interact with people on a much greater wavelength of ages than just their immediate peers, and are more actually prepared for the socialization at college than those who only lock into people of their age group.
Yeah, it's almost kind of limiting. You make a good point. It's pretty limiting to put people in that one category. You know, stay here. Your age, as if your age makes a difference. Because how is that anywhere near how the real world actually is? I don't know of any scenario in my life where I interact with people because they're all 34 also. Like, that makes absolutely no sense. Like, I mean, maybe you could come up with a group of people that, you know, a meetup.com group that says, hey, we're all 34. And then once you turn 35, then they got to kick you out of the group very ceremoniously, I guess. I don't know how that works.
I mean, I have two cousins who are the exact same age as I am, not just the year wise, but what you're talking about in the video I sent you yesterday after the show, this fits in with the directive function of the purposes of school, which is just pretty much kind of establishing this caste system as I would understand how he was explaining it, that you are locked in here. This is where you belong. You can go neither higher nor lower than this.
All right. So I think we dispelled that one pretty well. Appreciate you playing devil's advocate, though.
I had to try. I think there is hope, though, because I've been hearing, I mean, we got various things. Like, we know the stats on boys going to college. You know, girls are mostly at college now, and I think it's less of you know, girls being empowered than guys being disincentivized, because we're seeing college enrollment rates drop nationwide. Like, we see the stuff at Mizzou and Wilfrid Laurier and the Pine Tree one. Yeah, Evergreen. And, you know, we like to put the political spin on it, but the fact is that nationwide college enrollment rates are dropping as the percentage of men are dropping. And I'm hearing more and more about how employers are seeking out college students, like the NBA draft. They're seeking out college students so they can teach them what they want for the next couple of years instead of having them waste their time for 4 years getting some bullshit degree at a liberal arts college. So I think things are changing, and 20 years from now, that this will be resolved one way or another. Free market, man.
Yeah. I think the free market's eventually going to win out one way or another, and we'll get maybe eventually we'll all pull our heads out of our ass and realize that there's better ways to do it. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I think it's going to take, you know, guys like us going out and spreading messages like this, and at least getting people thinking about maybe some alternatives. That maybe the way we're doing it is okay. You know, people are doing all right, but maybe they could be doing way better if there was another method.
And if a requirement for your kid to go to public school is that you have to medicate him, you need to pull him out at that moment, because that shit is sick. That's not cool.
All right, there's another small piece of a video called "The 6 Purposes of Schooling" by John Taylor Gatto. Trent, you sent me this link yesterday, and I went through and watched it. And I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I wanted to play at least one of the 6 purposes anyway, and let you watch the rest of it. It's a. Are you having troubles? Oh, did I not bring it back? That's my fault. So
I would
We're gonna have
suggest that
to
if
fire
you
the
do
hose.
listen to it, put it on 1.5 because it brings it up to normal speaking speed.
I
Otherwise,
I
it's
did.
like watching a stuttering video.
Yeah, I put
Yeah.
it. Yeah, that's what I did. I got it playing on 1.5 speed. All right, go ahead and play that. Let's see what we got here.
Fill them for you. These are the 6 purposes or functions, as he calls them. The first he calls the adjustive function. Schools are to establish fixed habits of reaction to authority. That's their main purpose, habits of reaction to authority. That's why school authorities don't tear their hair out when somebody exposes that that the atomic bomb wasn't dropped on Korea, as a history book in 1990s printed by Scott Forsman distributed, and why each of these books has hundreds of substantive errors. Learning isn't the reason the texts are distributed. So first is the adjustive function, fixed habits. Now, here comes the wonderful insight that being able to analyze the detail will give you. How can you establish whether someone has successfully developed this automatic reaction? Because people have a proclivity when they're given sensible orders to follow it. That's not what they want to reach. The only way you can measure this is to give stupid orders and people automatically follow those. Now you've achieved function 1. Have you ever wondered?
Trent, I appreciate you sending me that. That was a pretty eye-opening video. I mean, I was kind of aware of a lot of what he was talking about in the peripheral, but he actually tied it back with some actual facts and actual research that he's gone and done. And thank goodness, because the text that he was talking about reading through, I'm glad I'm glad he did the work for us on that one. But if anybody wants to watch the rest of that and find out what the other 5 brain fart, the 5 purposes of schooling, I've got the link in the description as well.
They'll also probably pop up in the recommended the hour and a half to 5 hour long interview that one was. And there's probably other good stuff in there if you want to check it out. I plan on doing that.
Right on. So I mean, is that something that rings true to you guys? That maybe that's kind of the purpose behind it, and why our U.S. government, for example, is not in a big rush to try to fix the problem?
I'll let him speak first because I could go on.
Well, go on.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. It definitely is. It is the purpose to create flash button issues, let's say. We have the indoctrination in colleges and in most high school of people following socialism and communism, and we see things like Antifa and the very small but very vocal group of individuals who are decrying the quote-unquote fascism of Trump by using all these hot button words, and you can say any one of them, and each of those individuals will have the blood rush to their face, the veins pop out in their neck, the froth start going at the corners of their mouth, and they will behave in an extremely emotional response, which is easier to control, than, say, someone who has not had the exact same training, or is actually more of programming than they have experienced over decades of their life.
Damn. That's kind of what I think. I can't remember who I was listening to. They were talking about. They were drawing a comparison between the way that we are kind of shepherded around from class to class, the way we operate on a bell system. It was very set up the way that it's similar to the way a factory is set up, insofar as, you work a certain amount of time, you have a bell for break, you have a bell for lunch, you come on back, and you have to work on this set schedule. Everybody's doing the exact same thing. The production line, it's like this production line where all these kids are having to be kind of forced and jam-packed into a certain, set of scenario. Like, you have to be a certain way, and if you fall outside of that in any way, shape, or form, which boys do tend to do, they have a hard time sitting still and just listening. They want to move around, they want to touch things with their hands and stuff. They're much more, of a touchy feel, actually do kind of mentality. But it was just interesting to me, just hearing that comparison. And I work at a factory, so it's like I see it every day, and it feels like I'm in school in some strange fashion. But I don't know. I don't know. I just I feel like
I've heard
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I've heard that, and I guess people chalk it up to like some devious plan, but like I 100% understand it, but I think it's more something. I don't know as if they did this as a devious Illuminati plan to get children to behave like factory workers. I just think that like public schooling and all this rose during the rising age of the industrial age, and so everything was becoming more efficient. Everything was being put on systems, and everything runs by a system now. So I think that they just put in the least amount of effort, found the easiest system. I don't think it was done out of malice. I think it was simply done out of ignorance for the the necessity of children.
Yeah, yeah, you make a good point. I didn't mean to make it sound like there's a nefarious, evil man or a cabal at the top of the totem pole, pulling all the strings. I know a lot of people can go down that rabbit hole pretty damn quick. But I do feel like there is the way the incentive structure is set up. I mean, right now, the way the incentives are, there's no incentive for the students. It's incentivized. Here, let me put it this way. There's no incentive to do well by the student. The way that money is earned is by test scores. So what do teachers do, or what do the systems do? Is they try to adjust the test scores up or down depending on the race of the student in some cases, or they try to kind of grade on a curve, or they do these little tricks and things to try to get around it so they can still get their funding. There's no incentive to please the parents. The parents aren't the ones paying the paycheck. The government is. It's like, wait a minute, the kids aren't paying and they're supposed to be the customer. The parents aren't paying and they're supposed to be part of the customer anyway. Like, hold on. If you flip it around, you get it set up where I'm the parent. I'm the one paying you to teach my kids some shit. So teach my kids some shit. I mean, it's pretty basic business plan, I think. And once we can kind of get back to that system, I think maybe we'll start to see some improvements. Oh, so I've got logical thoughts from the comment section saying it works like cult systems. It was done out of malice. I'd like to have you expand on that just a little bit more, because I disagree. Although there might be some.
I will address that, because I'm of the opinion that it is out of malice, because there's 2 or 3 different publications.
Yeah,
that
saying there. I do feel like there is some level of it, but I don't think that the entire thing is all controlled by a globalist cabal like most.
I will agree with that. I believe that there are probably 1 or 2 people who have employed it and are using it to their own ends. But the 3 major thing, or 2 of the major things that are always mentioned in trying to take control of a society are education and healthcare. Reason why I tell you what's true, and I decide how much I'm willing to spend on you to keep you functioning. Those are the 2 major things you need to be able to control a large group of people if you're 1 guy or 10 guys, compared to thousands and thousands of other people. I have to be able to have, in the video clip we have, you have to have a normal response. Okay, if I hit button A, I get response A. If someone gets response B, I've now known that there's a break in that part of the system. I can now address that problem. If I can determine how healthy you are, I can determine how strong you can be. And it goes on from there. I could talk for hours on it and just sound like a raving madman at the exact same time.
So if that's the case, then it stands to reason that the system is not. It's still not benefiting the kids, and it needs to change. I mean, we're in agreement there. So regardless of whether it's just a broken system because it's outdated and obsolete, or if it's a broken system because there's people full of malice at the top echelons pulling the strings, whatever the case is, we still come to the same conclusion that something's got to change.
System needs to go.
It's obviously not working, and we don't want nasty people up at the top. All right.
Well, it's not working for the benefit of the people who are inside it. That's not what is happening.
All right, so we've got about 20 minutes left here for a full show. I want to thanks. So my daughter tried to make hot chocolate before the show and couldn't figure out what was going on with it, and all the chocolate was at the bottom of the cup. And she's trying to show me in the middle of me having a thought. People just want to keep put chocolate chips in it, whatever. Parenting. How about we talk about not? I'm just kidding. All right, so we're gonna go talk about the Supreme Court ruling on Trump's travel ban, and the namesake of the show. You know, Trump stops Muslims with his bare hands. That's what he's doing. That's what's going on, right? Just like
It sounds like the WWE. Really, it does.
yeah, that's actually where this whole thing originated from. He got such a thirst for power when he was featured in that WWE clip that you see on the internet all the time that he went on to say, all right, how can I have that experience again, but on a much, much bigger level? And he went on to become president. And then he said, you know what? I'm going to ban Muslims because I don't like Muslims specifically. And I'm gonna wait for them out at the docks. And I'm going to be an asshole. I'm going to put my fist in their face like this. And I'm going to turn them around and I'm going to say, you go home. I don't like you here. I don't know.
To be honest, that would be more entertaining than how this actually goes down.
But you would think, by, according to left, that's kind of what's going on. So it did kind of spark outrage, and it was pretty, I don't know. Do me a favor, bring up tab 4 here so we can show them that. Linda Sarsour, brings up this tweet. She says, she's sitting in her daughter's high school graduation in tears. I have to tell my daughter, who has been asking me for updates, that the Supreme Court of the United States upheld the Muslim and refugee ban, that they decided on the side of xenophobia and racism. Devastated. Hashtag stand with Muslims. Hashtag no Muslim ban ever. No, it's funny because I think Trump's the one that kind of started that whole trend of putting the one word with a period at the end of your tweet. It's like she's kind of so focused on this guy that she started to talk like him through tweets. I don't know if anybody else has noticed that kind of thing or not, but I find that hilarious. Do you feel like she's on point, or do you feel like maybe she's speaking in it?
No, I think.
Go right ahead. No, you go. I talked enough for right now.
Well, no, I was. I think it's just. Does the left not realize that these bullshit conversations with their children have become a meme for the right? Because every time they talk about their kids, it's fucking hilarious because we know it's bullshit. It's awesome.
I think my favorite meme I've seen of that is the one that says, they finish it up, says, I'm done. Can I go now? No. Keep reading the script.
Hey, you're right.
You're going to make me famous.
Well, here was my reply for that. Not I didn't reply to this tweet directly, but just my tweet here. I wanted to show you this. Dear liberals, you got your wish. There currently is no Muslim ban ever, nor was there ever. And I presented, let me scroll up so we see this image here, but I created this image here of Trump's travel ban and the countries that are involved in that. And if you look at that compared to which countries are majority Muslim countries, there might be some overlap, yes. But if he's trying to do a Muslim ban, he's doing a terrible job of it. Because he's missed like 90% of the Muslim countries, including somehow North Korea ended up in this. I don't know how that even happens. There's literally like 0 Muslims there, I'm pretty sure.
No, it just kind of makes you sad that the IRA isn't really a thing anymore and they aren't bombing shit every week, because if he could just throw Ireland on there, that would be fucking hilarious.
Yeah, right. I mean, hell, why not? Why not? That would be ironic is what it would be. I thought that was hilarious. People are getting such an outrage about it. And if you go back and look and you see what the countries of concern were already countries that were chosen under the Obama administration. It's supposed to be a temporary ban. And it's like, if I'm sitting here in my house and people are, I'm okay with people coming in, except, well, some of my shit's coming up missing a lot and I can't figure out who it is. And I just want to say, all right. I'm locking the doors for a little while. We're going to figure this out, take this step by step, and we're going to regroup temporarily. That's it. Temporarily. But no, we can't have that because Democrats need the voters for the midterms coming up. So we got to make sure we cry like little babies and try to get this thing. It's just so frustrating.
Now, see, I honestly think Trump could just take an easier route and just fire everybody who processes this shit at the State Department. And since Democrats like to hold up his bullshit, just be real slow in hiring people back. Because I'm okay with shutting the borders. For now, we gotta process the 70 million people who are here right now. So I'm okay with shutting them all down. But yeah, definitely, if you have bombed somebody in the last 6 months, maybe we don't let people from your civilization come over here, because you don't see Well, you see French people bombing shit now too, because they let in these folks. So
Well, it's been done before. We have stopped immigration for considerably much longer periods than what Trump's talking about.
Yeah.
It's just an overreaction to what's going on right now, what's in front of your face, without any context about what's happened in the past. Like no information. I mean, everybody wants to talk about Trump voters are the low information voters, but I in my experience of talking with people from all sides, it seems like the low information are the ones that are going and watching CNN and thinking they're getting the proper information.
CNN definitely isn't doing a daily coverage of all the bombings and the murders going on in those particular countries. I can guarantee you that. So.
Yeah, and to
I'm
be
going to
honest,
say
I'm
90%
quite
of every news
surprised
outlet
that,
isn't.
to be honest, I'm quite surprised that Paris isn't on that list, and I would be honestly surprised if it doesn't end up on the list at some point in the near future.
I don't know what happened. Like, did the mullahs tell them to calm down for a bit? We got to get more people over here, or what's going on? Because I really expected that shit to start ramping up once summer hit.
I think it may have on some level, but we're just not hearing about it. That's a possibility.
There is that. Ramadan is also has ended, so there's no quote unquote religious driving behind it now. It's just going to be the very few zealots.
If you look at what's been going on with Tommy Robinson right now, and which wouldn't, I mean, it would be a big story in and of itself, but the fact that they're actually telling reporters not to report on this, and they're telling them they're not allowed to do it. Like that's not cool. That's telling me that, okay, if they're covering up this story, what else are they not allowing to be reported on? What else are they not allowing to get out of their country information wise?
Yeah, like as far as Tommy Robinson, like the like if I recall correctly, that the whole pedophile gang, grooming gang stuff, there's still only about 2 towns. Was it 1,400 girls in these 2 small towns, and they got hundreds of arrests? They haven't even started to knock on the door. Hell, we know London is currently. It's now the acid attack of the world. It's now the knife stabbing attack of the world. So we know, and I don't think it's football players doing it. If I can take that gander.
Right.
But like we don't know how many girls have been kidnapped, raped, and groomed and all that in London itself. So. We don't know.
Dream's done in the comments. He says all countries that were banned under the Obama administration as well, and he says keep Korea out of America and free Tommy. It's hashtag free Tommy, dude. Come on, you gotta put your hashtags in the proper place. Get it right, man. What's wrong with you? At any rate, so I think we will move on to the mystery link of the week, and this one's brought to us by Haley, because somebody at Tennessee for Families blacked off this week. You know who you are, Anthony. At any rate. So thank you, Haley. This better be good. If it's not, it's not. She said it's not. So if you're disappointed, I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to ruin your entire evening by bringing you here for a disappointing mystery link. I know that's the only reason you came tonight. Go ahead.
Oh, before you get to that though, like, did you happen to catch the news in the last 5 hours?
I have been frantically trying to install my back door and get ready for this show. So short answer.
Okay. Well, the Justice Kennedy retired and may have kicked off the Second American Civil War. So that just happened. So.
Justice Kennedy retired.
Yeah,
I heard about the retiring, not the Second Civil War part, because I've been expecting that every day since Election Day.
They're going to be freaking out real quick.
Wait, can you explain a little bit more, because I'm not familiar with that.
Justice Kennedy is the swing voter. He was put under by Reagan, but he tends to vote left on social issues like abortion and gay rights. He's basically the guy responsible for making those law in America. And he retired because he wanted to retire because he may be a lefty in principles, but he was put under by a Republican president, and he still considers himself a Republican, and he wanted to make sure Trump was able to get somebody new in before the midterms in case the Republicans lost. So the resist Democrats are going to double, triple, quadruple down on the resist shit, and I think we will see some people freaking out on the streets because Trump is definitely going to install another Nazi on the Supreme Court. So I think between this, the Maxine Waters shit, the people being attacked, I think there will be blood by the end of the week.
Oh my God! I was really, that's fantastic news, because I was really, really hoping that there was going to be another Nazi in our Supreme Court system. That was like I was sitting here, like I said, I was installing my back door, and I was thinking to myself, if only we had another Nazi in the Supreme Court, like all of our dreams would come
It
true.
would be awesome.
Right? Right?
Heavy sarcasm, just
Yeah,
for legal
hashtag
purposes.
sarcasm in case anybody wants to quote me out of context rather. Text me out of con me out of my text. Anyway, let's check out this mystery link before we wrap up. Is there anything else you guys wanted to go and cover before we wrap up the show here?
Only in addition to that, there was some rumblings from, I forget which publication, talking about leftists were saying, well, we're going to start bombing things, like back in the Weather Underground.
Yeah.
Days.
Yeah, it was a Slant or Sling or something like that. One of the lefty publications, the author who used to be big in the 70s, is basically saying Republicans are whining and crying about being kicked out of restaurants where they ain't seen shit yet. Maybe it's time we kick it up back to what we used to do. So that's fun.
Please don't, because I know some guys who are going to enjoy that.
I was actually watching Scott Adams' Periscope from yesterday. I watched it today, and he was saying that the left really does need to calm down because the side with all the guns has been the side resisting violence. So as soon as they piss us off to a certain point, it ain't going to be fun in America.
Are you there, Daniel? You succumbed to hot chocolate. There's worse ways to go.
He had to go out and buy more guns.
Yeah. Unless this is the mystery link.
Oh, snap. I can't see it. Can I tap on it? Oh, I can. Okay, there's no link there.
All I see is just the Google homepage. Maybe he's...
Ow!
Okay, then. All right, so we wait for him to get back in, because it's still recording for us. I've had this happen on several other podcasts, where guys who was hosting it who can actually stop it, which was me at the time, accidentally had to leave, and it was still recording. So while we're waiting for Daniel to get back and turn this off, are there any other things we can bring up to fill the dead air?
Well, going back to the school issue, I was watching something on YouTube a couple weeks ago. It was either Finland or Norway or one of those Scandinavian countries where they had, like 20 years ago or something, they started to change all their schools. They no longer actually hold school for kids inside buildings. It's all outdoors in the woods, so I guess kids just learn to do quadratic equations while climbing a tree fort or something. So
I have seen similar things like that in the last few years, and it was more of what we would consider homesteading classes of this is how you maybe forge a knife or forge a horseshoe, and this is how you do some woodworking, and this is how you plant crops, and all those really handy skills that used to be commonplace back in before 1940 and in the late 1800s, which I'm all for because I have kind of an understanding of how to do that, but I don't have enough practical application of it to be able to say, yes, I know how to grow much bountiful harvests to last me the winter. Oddly enough, I had to dispose of a jar of tomatoes that had been canned back in the early 2000s that was still sealed, despite being at least a decade old. That was fun.
hold on. Daniel is messaging me.
And thank you, TL Videos, for saying that we're still live. That is true, Logical Thoughts. Homesteading does work to show children how making things work. Sorry,
Yeah, so he doesn't know we're live.
Okay. We
He's
can
not looking at my
him
message.
to get his ass back in here. Oh, I can text him. All right. So this is how you troubleshoot on a live stream. You text the guy who's actually supposed to be running it, and And hope it all goes well. Okay. So as we're trying to get Daniel back on, homesteading is a very handy thing. I've always had a love for blacksmithing, but literally everyone does that.
Mm-hmm. Everyone.
A lot of friends I have gotten into welding, and one of them runs his own forge, not professionally out of his garage.
I do not know a single blacksmith.
Maybe that's just the. Maybe that's just me. There's just several people who I know. One guy who builds Earth ships and does a bunch of like not necessarily doomsday prepping, but to the extent that uh, there are skills that you need to have, and a lot of them are off grid. I have texted him, and now we just have to wait patiently.
Yeah, he still hasn't read my message either. Well, so yeah, if you were contemplating buying a gun, I would do that before martial law gets declared next week. So,
All joking aside, yes, possibly.
yeah, no, I just with all the threats going on against the right, the fact that they've already tried to assassinate half the Republican caucus and shit, it's yeah, no,
It's
this is
definitely
just
worrisome.
another step. Mm-hmm.
Worrisome. If you had one right wing individual who expressed half of the vitriolic and attack mongering that the left has done, he would have been swatted like 3 minutes after he made those statements in any public forum. There's no way that they would not have been shut down immediately and had his ass thrown in jail.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's been said 100 times this week, but Roseanne Barr calls someone a monkey, and